working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain. Muscular discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop, have a little stretch and rest, stop, stretch, rest, and then join in again when you're ready to do so. If you're seated, as usual, see if I can find the upright seated position, giving myself as much space as possible to allow the diaphragm to be able to descend and ascend and create a nice relaxed breath. If you're lying down, taking advantage of the floor, just resting onto the floor, resting onto the mat, just allowing the weight to sit on the mat. Feeling the belly raising with the inhalation and then falling with the exhalation. So see if I can try and send the breath down. Just making sure that it's not up here. So it's not that kind of like, almost like a panicked breath. See if I can try and calm it down. So softening the front of the chest, the collarbones, the front of the throat. Allowing the breath and the body to relax. And then running the usual scan over the body. So noticing how you feel. Might be a bit stiff. There might be some niggles somewhere within the body. Might feel a bit wonky. Might feel very straight. Just noticing where everything is and how it feels to begin with. And then once you feel a little bit more settled with the breath, it's a little bit more relaxed with the body, then I'm just going to start focusing on the shoulder girdle. I'm going to start pulling the shoulders up to the head, bring them up to the ears, and then I'm going to press them down. So I'm going to lift them up and then press them down. So think of the neck shortening and then lengthening away. And then as you keep going up and down, especially if you're seated, see if you can be aware of what's working. If my shoulders come forward even slightly, as I go up and down, I can feel it mostly on the chest. So it's this muscle that tends to prevail. If I exaggerate and push back, then it's the muscle at the back of the shoulder instead. So if you can try and find a balanced position where you feel that the front of the chest and the back of the shoulder are working evenly. So one is not prevailing compared to the other. So the front of the chest still feels open, the back still feels open. If you're lying down, just using the mat to guide you. So the shoulder blades are kind of like gliding along the back of the mat, along the back of the ribcage, moving up and down. 3, 2, last one. I'm going to shrug them up, bring them up as high as I can. I'm going to hold. 1, 2, deep breath in, and then as I breathe out, I'm just going to let go. Keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed and nice and heavy, away from the head, away from the ear. I'm going to start moving the arm. One arm at a time. I'm going to start raising the right arm or the left arm up to the front. I'm going to bring it back, and then I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. Starting with a little movement, and then progressively, if possible, I'm going to go bigger. But see if you can just focus on the neck. So I don't want the arm to go so high that I feel that I have to use the neck to take it there. See if I can try and find a nice relaxed movement, however small the movement might be, but that it's not affecting the neck. So it's not creating tension into the back of the neck, into the back of the shoulder. It just feels nice and loose. And then also taking advantage that it's only one arm that is moving at a time. I feel that my left shoulder feels a bit sore today, so I'm going to stay small. My right side feels fine, so I might go a little bit bigger on that side, vice versa, if it's the other way around. And then as usual, if the shoulder starts clicking, it will all click, it will always click at the same point, at the same stage throughout the movement. So as you're getting close to that point, Play with the position of the hand by turning the hand a slightly different way. The forearm, but also the top of the arm will change slightly. You might be able to find a better combination between the head of the humerus, the top of the arm, and the shoulder socket. You might be able to get rid of that click, that clonking noise. 3, 2, 1, and release it down. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the neck. And then I'm going to focus on the neck and focus on the head. I'm going to start off with just going with a little lateral flexion side drop. I'm going to bring the right ear down to the right shoulder. It's my way back to center, left to the left shoulder, back to center, right to the right, left to the left. Making sure that I'm not forcing, there is no pain shooting down the arms, there is no tingling into the fingers, into the hands. So we've got a nice easy movement side to side. I'm going to change it slightly. So the next one, I'm going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, and then I'm going to turn as if I was trying to look at the ceiling above my left shoulder, so somewhere up there. Then I'm going to ease back, I'm going to drop down on the left, and then turn, look at the ceiling above my right shoulder, and then I'm going to ease back. So I'm going to drop and turn, come back, drop and turn the other way. Keeping the shoulders, keeping the back as still as possible, so the movement at the moment is just coming from the neck. Again, however small it feels, it doesn't matter. Just making sure that I'm not forcing and creating tension or creating pain. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to combine the head movement, the neck movement with the arm movement. So think of the same front raise that you practiced before. This time, imagine to be touching the point of the ceiling you were looking at earlier. So I'm going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, turn, and then with the left hand, I'm going to see if I can touch that point. Then I'm going to ease back, I'm going to drop and turn, and then with the right hand, I'm going to try and see if I can touch that point, and then coming back. Again, it doesn't matter if I can't reach very high, but see if you can aim to that point. So I'm looking at that point, I'm trying to touch it. Come back, I'm looking at that point, I'm trying to touch it, and then coming back. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, adjusting the position of the head, bringing it back to the center, and then I'm going to stay with the arms. This time I'm going to try and see if I can get into a little circle. So one arm at a time, I'm going to circle around my right, and then I'm going to circle around my left. So I'm going to circle the right, and then circle the left. So a little wave in front of the body, in front of you. Same as you did when the arm was going to the front, was going to the side, just to see if I can avoid any clicking, any grinding, any catching in the shoulder. So round with one, and then following with the other. Round with one, and then following with the other. And then when you're ready to do so, I want you to reverse the circles. So I'm going to go the other way. So I'm going to scoop around the other way, scoop around the other way with the other arm. So circling the other way, circling the other way with the other arm. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Relaxing the shoulders, releasing the upper body. And then I'm going to stay with the back, but this time I'm going to encourage a little rotation. So if you're seated, take advantage of the space. I'm just going to turn as if I was trying to put my seat belt on. So I'm going to turn to the right, and then the left arm I'm going to reach across as if I was trying to grab hold of the seat belt. Come back, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. If I'm lying down, exactly the same, but because obviously I can't reach behind, as the floor is behind me, I'm just going to reach to the side. Come back to the center, and then I'm going to reach the other way. The hips are keeping steady. It's just the shoulders gently rocking from side to side. And as the arm reaches across, as if you can think of a gentle stretch that starts from the center of the spine and then comes around the back of the shoulder into the arm. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, adjusting the shoulders, adjusting the head. I'm going to stay with the rotation, but this time instead of the closing, I'm going to try and open. So if you're lying down, I want you to roll over onto your side, setting for opening and closing doors on that side. I'm just going to lay down on the side, bottom arm, I'm going to reach it all the way to the front, so I'm resting on the back of the shoulder. The head is on the floor, or I can use a little pillow, something to support it if that's more comfortable. And then I'm just going to start opening the door, taking the arm up and around, and then I'm just going to ease back. So think of a nice opening across the front of the chest. If you're seated, think of the same movement, but from a seated position. So I'm going to pick one side, and then I'm just going to repeat on that same side. So I'm just going to try and swing around, open up nice and wide, come back to center, and then I'm going to repeat it again. 2, back to center, and then repeat it again. 3, and back. So think of turning to the side and spreading the arms as wide as possible. So you're really trying to create space across the front of the chest. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So if you're lying down, rolling over onto the side, the other side is setting the same position on the other side. If you're seated, I'm seated exactly the same. So imagine to be grabbing hold of the glass and then passing it to the person behind you. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to grab the other glass, and then pass it to the person behind. Come back, and then pass the next one. So nice opening again, without forcing, making sure that the shoulder is not twisting, making sure that I'm not stiffening. I'm trying to relax as much as possible within the movement, allowing the arms to drop down a little bit lower, so that the shoulder doesn't overload, it doesn't stiffen up too much. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Releasing the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. If you're lying on your side, I want you to roll over onto your back again, finding your neutral again. And then from rotation, I'm going to start going into a little extension. If you're seated, I'm going to plant the hands on top of the thighs. And then use the arms to create a little lid bridge. I'm going to lock the arms nice and straight, and then I'm going to try and push the chest into the space between the arms. So I'm going to try and extend, and then I'm just going to relax. So I'm going to try and extend and come back. If you're lying down, keeping the arms down by your side, if you can picture the chest lifting up towards the ceiling and then dropping back down. So see if you can think of the curve at the top of the spine, the thoracic curve, softening slightly. So see if I can try and counter that kind of like a rounded shoulder, hands position that we tend to get into, especially when we spend quite a lot of time sitting down. So see if I can get a nice lift and open through, and then I'm just going to relax again. Nice lift, opening through, and then relaxing again. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. It's a little bit more movement through the thoracic. I'm going to start coming down into the lumbar. I'm going to start off with a little hip hitch. So if you're seated, same as usual, think of hitching your right hip towards your rib cage, then coming down, hitching the left to that left side of the rib cage. So as if I was trying to lift one seatbelt off the chair. If I'm lying down, the back of the pelvis is going to stay flat against the mat. I'm just going to gently pull up on one, pull up on the other side. So feeling the hips are gently kind of like rocking side to side, as if it was a little pendulum moving from one side to the other. So side of the belly is working to create that little pull, right, left, right, left. So see if I can be aware of the tension that is encouraging that pull, that is encouraging that lift. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. See if I can reset the weight evenly between the right and the left seatbelt or across the back of the pelvis if I'm lying down. And then from a hip hitch, I'm going to go into a little pelvic tilt. So tilting the pelvis back, I'm going to press the lower back into the mat, and then coming forward back into neutral. So rocking the pelvis forward and back. Imagine to be gently massaging the back of the hips and the lower back. If you're seated, see if you can direct the movement down towards the bottom of the spine. So I want the movement to be down into the lumbar, rounding and extending, rounding and extending. Just trying to keep the thoracic pretty much still, so I'm not rounding too much, I'm not exaggerating too far. It's just a little movement at the base of the spine. I can feel the curve, the lumbar curve reversing, and then I'm going to bring myself back into neutral. If you can think of a nice tension coming from the midsection, coming from the center, coming from the core, giving me the strength to pull myself back into that lift before I let myself roll back again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Adjusting the weight, making sure that again is even between the right and the left seat bone. Pressure even at the back of the pelvis if I'm lying down. And then I'm going to start moving down into the hips. What I want is for the side of the hip to work. So if you're laying down, I want you to roll over onto your side again, setting yourself up into climb. So the knees are bent, one leg on top of the other, the head is supported, the back is straight. If I'm seated, I'm just going to use a little resistance. I'm just going to grab hold of my strap, my band, my belt, and then I'm just going to wrap it loosely around the knees, especially if it's a strap, so if there is no give, I'm just going to give myself a little kind of like room so that I can press, I can move slightly. If it's elastic one, it makes it easier. I'm going to keep the right leg still, and then I'm just going to work with that left side. I want to push that left leg out into the band, and then I'm just going to relax it. I'm going to push it out into the band and relax it. So I'm going to try and see if I can get the side of the hip, the side of the bum to work, to abduct the leg, to pull it out, to open it out. And then I'm just going to ease it back. Same as usual, if I can't find the movement, I don't recognize the movement, I'm just going to use the hand to guide. So I need a little help pushing out, so I'm going to push out. I need a little help pushing in, so I'm going to push back in. If you're lying down on the side, you don't need the band, as the weight of the leg is plenty enough to create the load. I'm going to keep the feet together, and then I'm just going to try and see if I can open and close, exactly as if it was a clamshell. And then I'm just going to ease back. The hips are steady, the center still connected, the spine is still level, still straight. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. If I'm lying down, I'm going to turn to the other side. If I'm sitting up, I'm going to stay in the same position, but this time I'll be focusing on the other leg. So I'm going to keep the first leg nice and still, and then I'm going to pull out with the other. So pushing out to the side, and then easing back in again. Pushing out to the side, and then easing back in again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip for releasing the leg. I'm going to undo the band, the strap, and push it to the side. And then I'm going to change the effort. I want the inside of the leg this time to work. So I'm going to switch the strap for the ball or the pillow. I'm going to put it between the knees. And then shuffling the feet a little bit closer together. I'm going to squeeze. This time I'm going to squeeze with both legs at the same time. So I'm going to press into the ball, press into the pillows if I was trying to pop it. And then I'm just going to relax. So I'm going to squeeze as hard as I can. And then I'm going to relax. So this time, see if I can focus the tension, the intention on the inner thigh, feeling the inner thigh tension to create that squeeze and to create that pressure on the ball. Using the hands again to help me guide that legs. And then this time, since you're squeezing with both legs at the same time, compare the strength or compare the tension between the right and the left. As I might find that my right works really well, my left is kind of like struggling a bit. If that's struggling, I'm going to focus on that one. I'm just going to try and see if I can keep the pressure centered. If you imagine a straight line that goes from your pubic bone and splits the ball in half, I want the two knees to move in the same amount. And then I'm just going to release back out. So I'm going to press them in, and then I'm just going to release them back. And then now that I've got a little bit more control over the tension, I'm going to squeeze and hold. So I'm going to press and then hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. I'm going to try again. So squeeze into the ball. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. One more time. Squeeze into the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release and back. Easing the pressure from the ball, giving the inner thigh just a little wrap, little slap, relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip. And then I'm going to work into hip flexion. So this time focusing on the front of the hip. You can still use the ball, especially if you're lying down with the pillow, so that you don't need to strain to overreach into the leg. If I'm seated, the leg is closer to me, so I can just put the hand there straight away. It's entirely up to you. I might put the ball between, or the pillow between the right hand and the right thigh. And then with the hand is as if I was going to push down into the ball. With the leg is trying to push up into the ball. Then I'm going to relax, and then again, with the hand I'm going to push down, with the leg I'm going to try and push up into the ball, and then release. So these times, if you can try and squeeze the ball between your hand and your thigh, between your hand and your knee. So the foot might lift, it might not lift off the ground, it doesn't matter. See if you can be aware of the tension into the front of the hip, so I can feel it gripping, I can feel it locking, I can feel it tightening up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then on the next one, I'm going to hold the pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Let's try it again. Squeeze the ball. Hold the tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Last time, press the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Giving the leg a little shake, relaxing the front of the hip, relaxing the arm, the front of the thigh. I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to switch the ball between the other hand and the leg, and then I'm going to start pressing. So I'm going to squash the ball, and then I'm just going to let go. I'm going to squash it, and then I'm going to release. So same as I did on the other side. See if I can be aware of that tension at the front of the hip. See if I can feel it tightening, feel it tensing, feel it gripping to create that squeeze. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On the next one, I'm going to press and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Try again. Press and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. Last time. Press and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and release. Giving the hip a good shake, relaxing the front of the hip, releasing, relaxing the front of the thigh, and then I'm going to work in reverse. So this time I'm trying to focus more on the back of the leg and the back of the hip. Still focusing on one leg at a time. Think of your right leg. I want you to push the right leg as hard as you can into the floor. So I'm going to press down as hard as I can with my right. I'm going to relax, and then I'm going to push as hard as I can with my left. Relax. I'm going to push down with the right. Relax. Push down with the left. And relax. So as you press down, see if you can be aware of what's going on into the leg. I can feel a little tension into the back of the leg, and a little tension also into the inside of the leg. See if I can focus on that. I can feel it tightening a little bit at the back. I'm going to relax. I can feel it tightening a little bit at the back. Relax. Tighten it a little bit at the back, and then relax again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the legs. Just a little bit more connection at the back of the leg as well. I'm going to try and see if I can do a little bit of coordination between the arms and the legs. So imagine to be like a puppet. I've got a string that goes from my right hand to my right leg, my left hand to my left leg. I'm just going to start pulling the string and see if I can puppet the legs. So I'm going to lift to the right, and then see if I can pull up on the right, lift the left to see if I can pull up on the left. Lift the right, pull up on the right, lift the left, pull up on the left. It doesn't matter if the leg doesn't come up, but see if you can still focus on the intention, the tension into the front of the hip. So I want the front of the hip to start twitching, to start biting, to start tensing, to create that little pull up. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to the other side. And then on one side is easy, on the other side is harder, both sides is harder. I'm just going to do the best I can with what I've got today. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, having a little rest. Now try the same, but this time imagine the strings are to be crossing over. So with my right hand, I'm going to pull the left leg, and then with the left, I'm going to pull the right. And then just noticing any difference. Sometimes one combination works better than the other. So I might find that this way I seems to be connecting and moving better. I might find that this actually feels a lot harder. The previous one was better for me. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Relaxing the hips, so releasing the shoulders, relaxing the legs. And then I'm going to try and see if I can do a little up and down. So moving the feet just a little bit closer to the chair. I'm going to place the hands onto the thighs, onto the side of the chair, onto the top of the chair, and then pushing down through the soles of the feet. I'm going to lower some of the weight into the legs as if I was trying to stand off the chair. And then I'm just going to sit back down again. If you're lying down, same as usual, I'm just going to push down into the soles of the feet, and then I'm going to drive the hips up into full extension. Back of the bum tensing to create the lift, and then I'm just going to ease them back down again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really trying to squeeze with the bum. 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Allowing the hips to drop down onto the mat if you're lying down, finding a comfortable seated position. And then whether you're lying down or sitting up, I want you to place the hands onto the belly, just resting onto the belly, just below the navel, just below the belly button. And then focus on your hands and see if you can send the breath into your hands. So I'm going to breathe in, I'm just going to let the belly expand into my hands. And then as I breathe out, I'm just going to let it relax. So I'm going to inhale, let it expand, exhale, relax. Not because I'm actively pushing the belly into the hands, but because the breath is doing so for me. As I breathe in, the diaphragm descends towards the abdominal content, compressing it, squashing it, so the belly kind of like pops out. As I breathe out, it just relaxes back in again. See if you can inhale into the nose and then exhale out of the mouth. I'm going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then as you keep that breath going, see if you can try and relax into it. So see if you can try and turn it into a nice, easy, relaxed breath and not into a forced one. So I don't feel my back stiffening, I don't feel my neck tightening. I don't feel my arms are gripping. See if I can try and turn it into a more natural way of breathing. 3, 2, 1, and then release it back. If you're lying down, I want you to slowly roll over onto your side and then pushing yourself up into sitting, finding your comfortable seated position, leaning against the wall, sofa, just making sure that there's nothing that is going to slide or slip behind you. And then trying to find that lift to the front of the body. I'm going to try and exaggerate that lift. So pushing the chest forward, I'm going to roll the shoulders back, let the shoulders fall behind you. I'm going to start looking forward, looking up, looking back, lengthening, opening the front of the body. And then I'm just going to release and come forward, allowing the chin to come down to the chest, the head to drop, the shoulders, the back to round. And then again, I'm going to try and lengthen and lift as much as I can. So much space between the chin and the pubic bone as I possibly can. And then I'm just going to let myself relax and forward again. One more time. Extending up, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then releasing, coming forward. One hand on the belly, one hand on the back. Take a bow. Give yourself a clap. Well done.